As always, before we get this video started, I'd like to tell you about today's sponsor, CastleManiaGames.com. Castlemania Games for all your video gaming needs, for all your retro systems. Check out CastlemaniaGames.com and enter coupon code PSP1010 to get that discount, and tell them Timothy Tim PSP sent you. They're a great company. They've got a lot of great stuff. Modern things for old systems. If you've got an old Nintendo, a Sega Genesis, or TurboGrafx 16 that you want to hook up to a TV, Castlemania Games has got you covered with new controllers, new models that you maybe never seen before, made by other companies, and plus they've got that classic replacements for all your old retro systems. When it comes to retro video gaming, Castlemania Games has you covered. So that's CastlemaniaGames.com, promo code PSP1010. All right, let's get today's video started. Rated F for fucking awesome. Well, look who's back. Hey guys, how's it going? It's me, Timothy Tim PSP, back here with another video. Filming in a different location, although you probably can't tell, I'm still using the same black vinyl background that I always use, but I'm stuck in quarantine like the rest of you fucks, but that doesn't mean that we can't game. And I've got something really cool to show you. I've been going through all my gaming gear and all my various USB cords that I don't need anymore, and just all the crap that one accumulates over the years. And as I was digging through stuff, I noticed this. And I forgot, man, I got this a long time ago, and I always wanted to do something with it, with the right PSP. And it's made by the good people at iSound, who I've never fucking heard of. But this thing has survived the test of time. I actually have the box that it came in. It's a little yellowed over time, so that's why it's not making an appearance in this video, because why? But this is a PSP speaker setup, and it comes with this nice vinyl velcroed bag. And this is one of the accessories that came out for the PSP 1000. They made a lot of cool accessories for the 1000. Just like all that shit that they made for iPods back in the day, or iPhones. This is a speaker dock, and it is pretty badass. Comes with a remote that I forgot to bring over here, so I'm going to grab that. There it is. Little remote that needed a new battery. One problem with this over time, it looked like when I went to go clean it up, the finish on the back started to come off. So I went ahead and replaced that with a piece of vinyl that I clear coated, and that's got the protective finish on it to hopefully keep this thing in working order. It does work. Tested it out, and excuse me, you can't have a PSP 1000 speaker dock without the right PSP. And here it is. This is a actually started out as a black 1000, added the face plates and the black buttons to kind of go with this thing. And then you see the back here, we've got the battery cover, UMD cover, black UMD ring, obviously not standard, and then I added the PlayStation logo here, just kind of bring everything together. It is running custom firmware as always, 128 gigabytes, and I was thinking about if I'm gonna do a PSP like this with a speaker dock like this, what games come to mind that have some of the best music? Now, obviously, you're not going to be playing the games with the dock attached, but keeping with that theme, I thought what would go better than RPGs. So this is loaded up with RPGs, but because it's 128 gigs, this is really a celebration of everything the PSP 1000 has to offer, the PSP has to offer. And you get all those retro games like Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, Game Boy, Vectrex, Midway Arcade, Capcom Arcade, TurboGrafx 16, Super Nintendo, Game Gear, Magnavox Odyssey, Commodore 64, Game Boy Advance, just about everything you could think of under the sun when it comes to retro gaming. And I feel like if we're spending all this time at home, might as well have some fun with it and play some games. So let me see, what else was there that I wanted to tell you about before I get this thing fired up? This dock, one cool thing about it, takes batteries. That's 4 AA batteries in here. This door is kind of hard to get off and back on. It stays on, but I don't want to mess with that. No, fuck it, I'll do it because it sounds like it's broken. Here you go. What is that? I think those are, yeah, those are AAAs. So it takes 4 AAA batteries and works pretty damn good. Get this back on here. Hard to do with my hands in front of the camera. There you go, back on. Actually wasn't too hard. I don't know why I had a problem with it before. When you have batteries in there, be careful because if you take that battery cover door off, the batteries just like to, you know, spring out like a can loaded with silly snakes that come out at you trying to scare you. One of those old jokes. Okay. Another cool thing about this is, oops, bumped the camera there. Apologize. It runs off of batteries, or you can use a standard PSP charger, which I will be throwing in with this, and works pretty good. Now I did go ahead and preload the memory card inside with some fan-made video game music and some retro video game music. The way this can work is the PSP has always been able to play MP3s. There's a folder inside if you connect the PSP through USB, and I'll be providing one of those cables with this PSP as well. You just drag and drop your MP3 files in to that folder that says music, and then pick the audio player, music player on the PSP, and then you can skip tracks, you can turn it up and down. I'll show you all of that, but it actually works pretty cool, and it also works as a charger. One of the things I don't know very many people know about is here's where the standard charger plugs in, and these 2 little pins are actually contacts that you could use to put your PSP in a charging base. And essentially, this is a speaker dock where we connect to the headphone jack and the controls board there. And yeah, you can use this to play your music remotely. And I have to say, the speakers sound much better than your standard PSP speakers, especially with the 1000. So let me get everything set up, and I will be right back to give you a demo of some of the music, and then of course show you all the games this thing has to offer and the custom theme that I put on here. So I'll be back in a second. All right, here we are all booted up, and with the remote handy, we can go ahead and start playing some music, and I can kind of give you an idea of what things sound like. Obviously, this is my camera is recording it, but I can testify that the PSP sounds pretty damn good playing through these speakers. You can also see the orange charge light is indicated, so the internal battery is being charged while we do this. And let's start off with something. All right, this is a Blazing Laser soundtrack. Skip ahead. I think this is Castlevania, which is a cover that's being done. Oh, I should mention, it's a good idea to have the PSP kind of turned down and then turn the speaker up, because that's what your remote is doing. And we have the visualizer for the PSP running. I think that looks pretty cool. Let's see if I can turn some lights down here. Yeah, there we go. You've got your play and pause features, and then you can also skip tracks. Hold on here. There we go. Sonic Megamix, you guys know this is one of my favorite homebrew Sonic games. You'll find those games in homebrew hacks, old school hacks, I'm sorry. You'll find that folder in there. I believe one small press skips a track, and then if you hold it down, it should skip through the song. Yes. Little Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time. What else do we have on here? Oh, Mega Man. It's an awesome soundtrack. I think music for my money, the best video game music on the NES comes out of Mega Man, at least for me. What else we have on here? Hell yeah. Some heavy metal covers of some gaming music. Oh yeah. You know, you want to crank the Mortal Kombat soundtrack. So your neighbors that are also in quarantine lose their fucking shit. Turn that crap off! You want to mess with me, man? I'm playing Mortal Kombat over here. All right, so that's your basic review of the speaker. Obviously, you've got the remote here Now, one thing I do want to mention about this PSP, everything's working great, but it has, in fact, it's truly been moved to all digital because the UMD drive is not working. It had a bad UMD door, and those are a pain to replace. So the drive is sealed, but as you can see, everything's working great. And with 128 gigs full of games and a little bit of music, obviously you can take what I've put on there off and put on your own tunes. It's a pretty cool way of, you know, playing some music in a real retro way. So one of the things I'm going to take you through is just some of the games on here. If you're unfamiliar with some of my PSPs in the past, I do these custom menus, and some of the emulators and stuff I have tweaked on my own and to try to make them work best with the PSP. And I started out with the 1000, so it was fun coming back to this system and making sure everything runs great.
This is the playing field of the future. The unprecedented 1990 Nintendo World Championships. Traveling coast to coast across.
You can play the World Championships game right in this menu.
Searching for the best in the business.
Challenge your friends.
Of Nintendo. The players you are about to meet.
This would be better if I turn the brightness down. I have the brightness hack. Running on this to make the screen brighter than it originally was supposed to be.
Wasn't humanly possible, but now you can have all the power and excitement of Nintendo right in the palm of your hand.
Now, I always like to mention this, N64 does not run very well on the PSP, so this is just a limited amount of games, just something to play with. I love the N64, and I wanted this menu on here just because I just felt that it should be. Alright, and as you can see, the list goes on with all these emulators and game players. I don't want to make everyone sit through everything, but rest assured, all of the cartridge-based systems have complete sets of games, and then we even have true arcade emulation running through MAME and the arcade classics. Neo Geo's, SNK's Neo Geo arcade emulation is running great, so feel free to play games like Metal Slug X or Samurai Showdown. Okay, enough of that. Take you through some of the other folders. Like I said, we've got old school hacks here, and that is a collection of games that that people have developed on their own. Here is various different versions of Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. Arguably the best Zelda game out there. A lot of people say that. For me, it's Breath of the Wild. It just doesn't get any better than playing Zelda on my Nintendo Switch when I want to play something new These old games and these hacks, it's like someone made a completely new version of the game, and there are some real gems in here, and I highly suggest playing them. Sonic the Hedgehog games. Oh, come on now. Hold on, we gotta start that over again. I love it. Yeah. I'm a nerd. Yeah. Fucking nerd. I don't care. Sounds good. I'm in quarantine. Sonic Megamix is such a fun game. I can't even tell you. Check that out. If you like Sonic Mania, you're going to like Sonic Megamix. And we've got NES hacks, just various NES games. Custom Ghostbusters menu, I am a fan. NES hacks here. Check out Super Mario Bros. 3 mix. You will not be disappointed. And then a menu just dedicated to Mega Man. One of the best games ever. Difficulty. Satisfying to beat. Just well put together games and great music. Castlevania. Now I can take you through some of the PlayStation 1 games. Now we've got several folders here with 128 gigs. I've left some space in here for music, and that's why you're seeing this extra space here. Just obviously, if you don't want that space there and you want something else on here, you can add your own games. But we've got everything split up into folders. We've got PlayStation 1 split up into those 1, 2, 3 folders. And then we've got PSP games. And I believe there's 4 folders here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I'm not going to take you through every single game because there's just so many. But when I said a tribute to RPGs, I just want to kind of give you an idea of what I mean. Now, you're going to get all the RPGs with the older systems, but you're going to get these two. Hold on, let me turn the brightness down. Yeah, that's a little better. And just quickly while I'm talking here, I'm going to take you through a lot of the RPGs on here. You don't just get RPGs, though. You're getting like the Spyro games and everything else that the PSP can do. You know, once again, if I say 128 gigs, I have filled it up. And I've been doing this for quite a while, so I know what games are good, I know what works, what doesn't. This is already set up with RPGs, you might be wondering, but a lot of these PlayStation 1 games use multiple discs, and that's no problem. That's set up. When you get to a point in the game where it asks you for the next game, you press the menu button here, select that disc, and then restart the game through that menu. And your next disc will start and your game will carry on. I've tested many of those games just to make sure, because how bad would that be if you got through a disc or two and then things stop working? So that's all set up and working very nicely. So so many RPGs, it just keeps going. You gotta love the PSP, man. And we'll take you into that next folder. And now we're starting to get into some fighting games. We've got a whole bunch of the Street Fighters, Marvel vs. Capcom, Mega Man, Legend of King, Soul Reaver, Galaga, Doom. We've got the Duke Nukem games on here as well. Earthworm Jim. it just keeps on going. And I'm just going to quickly tap through this list just to show you that they're there. Just to make sure you know. Feel free to go back and pause the video if that's your thing. Why I'm doing that. I would just like to say that I know a lot of people are home right now, and obviously a lot of people are using the internet. And I've been starting to share more of my work and photos of what I've done on Instagram and various places on Reddit. And, you know, if you watch the news all the time, you might start to feel that, you know, things are pretty negative and everyone is worried. And, you know I am worried about my, you know, the older people in my family and those that I know that are, you know, vulnerable to this virus that we're all, you know, trying to deal with right now. And I have to say, like 98% of the interaction I'm having with people online has just been so fucking positive. People have been so nice and so complimentary. And even when people have a critique, which they will, this is the internet, people have said it in such a nice way. And this is the internet. And I've been doing this PSP YouTube thing for a while. And it's not always been that way. You know, and I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who clicked a like or subscribe to the channel. I've noticed my subs are going up. That is fantastic. Appreciate it. If you do sub to the channel, it is probably a good idea that you hit that notification bell. The only reason why I say that is because I don't dump a whole lot of content on YouTube. I'm not trying to just, you know, put stuff out just for the sake of having a new video. I make videos for PSPs and other things sometimes when I think they matter. So sometimes I can get lost in the algorithm. It could be a good idea to hit that bell if you want to make sure to see, you know, what I'm doing next. Also, if you subscribe, I post eBay auctions when they start. I'm not taking any custom orders right now. So if you do want one of my PSPs, I will post a link to that auction. And all my auctions last for 7 days. PSPs always start at $50, and people bid them up, and we'll just see, you know, what happens. You know, I'm looking forward to putting this one on here and letting somebody else take it home, have some fun with it. This is the first of one of my PSP oh, that's on there twice. Is that on there twice? Oh no, that's two different Burnout games. Okay. Sometimes dumping stuff on here, I get duplicates, but rest assured, I'll go back through and check everything, and I try to squeeze as many games in here as possible. And as you can see, that's a lot. My favorite version of Pac-Man, Championship Edition. Go ahead and log on. Go ahead and play and try to beat my high score with every PSP I transfer. I transfer my Pac-Man high score. Go ahead and try to duke me out. Duke me out? Go ahead and try to beat my score. Duke me out. I sound like my mother. She's always make up these phrases like, Mom, I don't think anybody says that. Oh, they say it. The God of War games are on here. Ghostbusters game with a custom menu that I made, because that game is the shit. Voiced by the original cast. Alright, I'm not going to make you sit through me going through that all over again. If you are a potential buyer, bidder, only contact me through eBay. Can't talk to you outside of eBay per eBay rules. And also, it's nice to make it fair for all the other people that are bidding. But if you do have any questions, please let me know. Guys, that's just about it. That's all I have to tell you. We got the Grand Theft Autos on here. Okay, finally at the last folder with all these games. So many games. Brand new battery in this PSP. That's good to know. let's see what else. What else can I tell you? Oh, screen's been replaced. That's a brand new screen in there. And everything is working great. Like I said, the UMD drive is not optionable. Is not optionable. Oh my gosh. I'm getting cabin fever here. Too much time. Listen, thanks for checking out the video. If you want a PSP like this, sub to the channel. You can also check out my Facebook page at Timothy Tim PSP on Facebook. You can also send me an email, timothytimpc@yahoo.com. You can find me on Insta, Timothy Tim PSP, Reddit, Timothy Tim PSP. I'm not on Twitter. Twitter's a cesspool. I feel bad for anyone that uses it. There could be some nice people on there, but you know what I'm talking about, especially right now. So, hey guys, thanks for all the love. Appreciate it. If you just came to watch the video, thanks for doing that. Thank you, Castlemania Games, for still being a sponsor of this little channel. So there's only one thing left for me to say. Game on!
Game on!
Yeah, game on!